program will terminate cleanly. So we've got a nice succinct expression, very clean declarative statement of what we want without having to put any extra control structure and tests in there. It doesn't need to do any additional checks. As soon as it gets to the end of the file, get will return nil as an object, and the statement there, which is also being used as a which is also being used for as a side effect of instantiated line, that statement will actually evaluate to false, and the while loop will terminate cleanly. We can actually make some of our control structures a little bit more succinct. There are ways of, for a simple control structure, actually just augmenting a statement with a modifier. So instead of having a control structure which embeds some simple statements, as in here, then we can just modify the basic statement that puts the print statement there with a condition at the end of it. And that can be either an if statement if we want to do something just once under certain situations, or if we want to do something repeatedly while a certain condition stands, then we can put while at the end of that statement. So what that final example will do is start with squaring 2 and then increase the value of square repeatedly until it exceeds 1,000, and then it'll terminate. So again, enabling you to write things a little bit more succinctly in situations, common situations, where a small number of lines can be saved, but it does make for the saving is perhaps not so important as the fact that you can write down now a very simple declarative statement, which is what one aims to try and do. Probably the final additional bit I want to explore is, again, also one of the reasons why Ruby is quite widely used, one of the reasons for its power as a language for building web applications, is its inbuilt support for regular expressions. Very useful for many aspects of any web application, and very simple syntax. If you're used to regular expressions, it'll be quite familiar to you. So we've got some simple examples here where we have a regular expression delimited by these forward slashes and a bar, vertical bar to indicate a disjunction. So Perl or Python can express that in a slightly more succinct way if we want to. That's not really a big deal for that small example, but just to indicate the use of braces inside a regular expression. Standard things, so a plus for one or more, a star for 0 or more, some special characters for matching to space character, something which is any of the alphabetical or alphanumeric characters, another /D for anything which matches a digit. And if you look in the pickaxe books, you'll see an extensive syntax for handling regular expressions. No need to go through that in the slides, it's just a matter of looking up in the documentation to use that. The next thing to look at is how you actually use a regular expression, and the equals twiddles operator is the one that's used. In this particular case, what that's saying is asking you to see if there was a match of that regular expression with the string that's the variable on the left-hand side is pointing to. So we can use in that particular expression something which will print out a statement if either the word Perl or the word Python is found in the string line. So a test, you can use it for testing to see if an expression is present at some point within it. I'll say a little bit more about the result you get from that, because there's a little bit more than simply a yes/no answer from that. You can also use a regular expression in order to make a substitution. So in this particular case, it's looking for any instances in the first example, it's looking for the first instance of the expression Perl and replacing it with the expression Ruby. We can do a global substitution as well. So in that second example there, it's replacing every instance of Python in line with Ruby. And in that final example, we can remove any evidence of history, any evidence of Perl or Python from history. So slightly humorous one. The let's go on. Let's move on again. There's a little bit further from that. There's something going on in the background in some of those examples which we've looked at. And there is also another of the techniques which we'll see repeatedly use of in Rails when we come to use this. And this is the use of blocks and iterators. We can actually factor out chunks of code. This is where we do use curly brackets quite a lot. That first line is not a particularly good example because it's a very simple statement, but one can put curly braces round a block of code or use those do-end delimiters, which are familiar from some of the conditional statements. So we've got a very simple statement where we've got curly braces around it. That is a block of code, and we can pass that as the value of a parameter. We'll see how in a moment. So either that first simple line or a complex chunk of code delimited by do-end. Those are blocks of code which can be used as parameters in a rather key way through use of this yield statement. We can, as a result of that, we can actually associate a block with a call to a method. So in this particular case, we've got a method greet, and we're passing in as a parameter a block of code to print out hi. What is going to happen inside that definition of greet? It will have a yield statement at some point. So you can try that out. We'll look into this in a little bit more detail now. We've defined a method now, so let's see how this is done. We've defined a method call block which has got a couple of print statements in it, and it's got two yields. What those yields are going to do is to pass control to the code block that's used as a parameter for the method. So we've got a simple code block which prints out the string in the block, and we're going to yield to it 2 times in that method call. So what will happen is, to go through very painfully, when that method's invoked with the respective code block, we will print out start of the block, we'll then yield to the block, and that will in turn print out in the block. We'll yield again to the block, so again that'll pass control back to that same block of code, and it'll print out in the block again, and then finally it'll say end of method. So what we get there is, when we pass the example block of code as a parameter to call block, we get 4 lines printed out in that case. Start of block, for 2 times in the block is repeated, and then end of method is printed out again. Very simple example, but it is an incredibly powerful technique, especially because you can pass arguments from the yield statement into the block, so it makes the block parameterizable. And in this particular case, what we will do is to pass 2 parameters into a block, which is declared here to identify the 2 arguments, and then print out something where again the evaluation of the first argument is substituted into the string, followed by the evaluation of the second argument. So now we've got something a little bit more interesting, because each time that yields passes control to the block, it passes control with values of 2 arguments. So we actually get slightly different behavior each time. Trivial in this example, but when we come to using Rails, we'll see this is an incredibly powerful technique for refactoring your code, because what we can now do with the use of yield statements is to succinctly factor out repeated chunks of code, not as functions but as blocks in their own right. It's used quite a lot as a way of implementing iterators, and